If the problem with the washer is that when you turn it on, the washer doesn't take any water at all, no hot water or no cold water, no matter what setting you put it on, close the door on the washer and set the timer on the spin cycle and turn it on. If the washer works okay on the spin cycle, then you know that electricity is reaching the washer. Then you need to check the lit switch. Disconnect the washer from the wall outlet. There are 4 screws on top of the controls panel. Remove the 2 screws that are next to the screws on the corners. Open the controls panel and lay it down flat on top of the machine. If this check switch gets stuck on the on position when it should be off, when you close the door, it will blow this fuse. So replacing the fuse is not going to solve the problem. You will need to replace the complete lit switch assembly. Let me show you how to bypass the lit switch assembly with 2 jumper wires to make sure that the washer is working okay before replacing the switch. You need 2 jumper wires like this with insulated alligator clips. You can make them yourself or you could buy them already made. Connect the first jumper wire between the white and brown wires on the fuse holder like this. Disconnect the white wire from the check switch. Connect the other jumper wire between this black wire and this other black wire. Now this wire could be a red with black tracer on it. Make sure that the jumper wires are making a good connection. Close the controls panel, but don't screw the holding screws on it. Just make sure that it will stay in place. Connect the washer to the wall outlet. Set the water level to low and the water temperature switch to warm. Set the timer on the beginning of the cycle and turn it on. Let the washer fill to the selected level and start agitating. Close the door on the washer and set the timer on the spin cycle and turn it on. If the washer fills, agitate, and spin okay with the jumper wires, then you know you need to replace the lit switch. To check the lit switch with a multimeter, the door must be closed. Set your multimeter on the lower scale to read ohms. To make sure that the multimeter is working, touch the 2 test probes like this. The reading should be close to 0 ohms when they're touching. When they're not touching, the reading should be infinity. If the meter is working like that, it's ready to be used. To check the fuse, remove the white wire from the fuse holder. Take a reading between these 2 terminals. The reading should be close to 0 ohms. If the reading is infinity, the fuse is blown. To check the lit switch, remove the red wire from the switch. Take a reading between these 2 terminals. The reading should be close to 0 ohms. If the reading is infinity, the switch is bad and you need to replace it. To check the check switch, remove the white and black wires. Take a reading between these 2 terminals. The reading should be close to 0 ohms. If the reading is infinity, the switch is bad and you need to replace it. Take a reading between these 2 terminals. The reading should be infinity. If the reading is close to 0 ohms, the switch is bad and you need to replace it. If any of the parts on the switch are bad, the manufacturer recommends to replace the complete switch assembly. Before removing the bad switch, use a screwdriver to mark the location of the switch so you can put the new one on the same location. Remove the 5/16 holding screw. Remove the bed switch with all the wires attached to it and put it on top of the washer. This piece has to go between the two switches. Hook the new switch to the two slots. Bring it down and make sure that it falls in place. Then push it to the mark and screw in the holding screw. Transfer the wires one by one from the bed switch to the new switch. If you need to adjust the switch, loosen the holding screw. Then move the switch forward until you hear it click. Then tighten the holding screw in place. Close the controls panel and screw in the two holding screws. Connect the washer to the wall outlet and try it out to see how it works now.